because people think, oh, if you start a company and you fail, you're done, or something, that's a negative blemish in your reputation. Whereas actually, you're more respected, and you've built a stronger network, right? Like
Yeah.
I was, so my career kind of replacement, framework, instead of pursuing optionality, is to pursue asymmetric upside, which is this idea that pursuing an opportunity that has the chance of being a mega outcome for you, but if it doesn't work out, is actually a pretty great experience. And I'll say that Product Hunt was that for me. I was
Yeah.
at Product Hunt. Product Hunt was the startup of the year in 2014. Like, people thought it was going to be this unicorn, and it totally was not. It was not even a big financial outcome at all. But it was this amazing opportunity to build such a strong network, such a strong community, and people really respect Product Hunt, even though it wasn't this massive outcome. And that has generated so much more career opportunities for me than going to Princeton or some great university, or working at Goldman Sachs. And it would have been much harder for me to have gotten into Princeton or Goldman Sachs, and I would have had to work a lot harder at Princeton, Goldman Sachs, to be successful. And that's when you pursue things that not a lot of people are doing, there's less competition and more opportunities to stand out and shine, and people respect that.
One of the things I see with smart people is like they often they pass the marshmallow test, so they're all about delaying gratification,
Yes.
and so they work on something that they don't really like, they're not that interested in, but they think it's like a good thing for them to do. And I think for many of them, they think they're optimizing the long term, but really they're optimizing kind of the midterm.
Yeah.
They're delaying, they're not having fun with what they're doing. They think it's going to be good for, it's going to help them make partner at a law firm or something like that. But they're not really optimizing like the long-term piece.
Totally. And there's some subtle ways as well in which they're not optimizing the long term, which is they're putting themselves in peer groups of people they might not want to be like, or might not want to end up. Now, if you want to be a partner at one of these firms, then you should go work at the firm and be around these people.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
totally. And that's great. They do well and have good lives probably. But if you want to be a founder or be successful in some other field, and you put yourself around people who are not going to pursue that path, it's going to be so much harder for you to go out and pursue that path. And that's why, if you want to be a founder, go join other people who also either are founders or want to be founders, and that momentum is going to carry you. As David Brooks once said, it's far easier to change your environment than your insides. And we often will calibrate ourselves or morph ourselves to match our environment, or what our environment respects.
And it seems like people, when they're kind of optimizing for optionality, they're kind of doing things because they think it will help them a lot in the future, not necessarily because, for the pure enjoyment of that, or for, whatever it might be. It's like, this is going to be something important on my resume. And partially, it's especially people growing up, let's say in the last 40 years or something like that. To get into college, you had to do all these like things that everyone expected you to do. You had to go play on a specific sports team. You had to study these types of things, and you even have to go, to Costa Rica to help the turtles or something. And it just became this thing like where you have there's this path that everyone knows, and you just follow the path. Do you think that is part of it, or is it something endemic in our culture? Or?
Yeah, it
seems like it's happening mostly to the smartest people, not to you would think these things would not afflict like the brightest, highest IQ people.
Yeah, I think it is part of a sort of checkbox culture that we've been raised in order to get to the best colleges. We have to, in order to get to the best colleges, you have to look smart along the way. But in order to build a massive company, sometimes you have to look dumb along the way. So it really is kind of a different skill set. And then it's also, it's people wanting to look smart to the broader public, to their parents, to people who can really recognize what these credentials mean. And then it's also the sort of propaganda that these big firms play, which is, hey, we have unique skills, that you will learn here that will help you be a better founder or whatever it is you want to do, better than actually doing the founding or that sort of thing, which I think is not quite true, although there are some valuable skills that are learned. I think one example of optionality that people might not properly respect, but that worked out for a tremendous amount of people, was getting into crypto in 2014 or 2015 or 2016 or 2017 even. Whereas, like, I'll take someone like Kal Samani, who started Multicoin. He one of the early crypto firms. At the time, I think he was unemployed. He was kind of early in his career, and he was taking this big bet. Now, the fascinating thing about crypto was this thing where, hey, if it worked out, people, there was a lot of money to be made, and for people who did make money, or did work out, they made a lot of money. But even there's so many people who got so rich and they failed. I mean, it's so fascinating. Like, how many fields are there where you can become worth hundreds of millions or more, and your company failed, but you just owned enough of the kind of currency that the field operates in. And what was the cost? The biggest cost was just looking stupid. Was looking dumb. And so I think that's a good question to ask in general, is what are things I can pursue that look dumb to a set of people, but look smart to another set of people, and those are the people that I kind of respect. But there's asymmetric upside. If it works, it's going to be absolutely massive.